cheer from the volunteers on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the audience to episode 3 with me somehow being the host of this podcast. And thanks to Karen and KidsPlay, and I'm thankful by way of our collaboration that we've been able to work through LiveBig and KidsPlay to bring to you people that I find to be inspirational, people that I've had relationships with for a very long time, and the people that I've got a chance to get to know who I think are doing the right thing in our community and represent themselves in a way of integrity, and people I'm amazed by, frankly. So today we've got some really special guests. To my right, your left, if you're watching this, Jessie Dhanju, a lawyer in Victoria, BC, all around the world, frankly, who's amazed me with his volunteerism. We met through LiveBig. We've had the opportunity to do some work together. I'm hoping to bring him on with me as a counsel in the future. And frankly, Jessie, just your work through sex trafficking and helping victims of trafficking, then dealing with, I think, some of the most emotional issues and difficult things in the world. I just welcome you and thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you.
I've got two brothers here as well. I've got Jazz Johal in the red, representing his Fit Nation sweatshirt, and Ben Guman in the gray shirt here. These two are the owners, operators, and creators of Fit Nation. And I'll sort of start, if I may, with a little story.
Sure.
Look, I've sort of been very open about my addictions, and you two mean a lot to me. Because when I was going through my addictions, it was really difficult for my wife. It's easy for me to talk about my own experiences. But my wife is, I'd say, a loud and proud member of the Fit Nation.
That's right.
And she's there daily, and this isolation, and we'll talk about that as we go forward, is difficult because she's not able to go to the gym and so on. But like while I was going through my addictions, you two were a consistent, I'd say, consistent group of, you were consistent for her to be able to go in and get positive energy, be able to work through some of the things that she was dealing with you guys. And we talk about it all the time now, and it's incredible because I think without you two in our lives, I don't know where she'd be. And she tells me all the time, gentlemen, about how much you guys did and how much you care and how you built her confidence up and how you gave her space to be able to not think about the things that were going on at home. So with you two, I'm thankful. Not only did I see it in my own life with my wife, I see it when I walk into the gym. I see the way you guys deal with your patients, your clients, the people that you train. It's incredible to watch. I get this incredible energy as soon as I walk into your facility. I'm not like blowing smoke, guys. It's for real. Like you get this feeling when you walk in of like, I feel welcome here. And I love that sign by the bench bar with those massive weights on the side. And I can't remember what it said.
A squat is an analogy for life. When heavy things weigh you down, you squat them up.
Something like that. Yeah.
I love that. Whatever that was, I remember looking at it and I was like, yeah, that's so true. And I love the way that you guys are not only promoting like health through working out, but also the mental health side. And I think there's a significant problem that we're dealing with, not just in our culture as East Indians, but in general, culturally, across the spectrum of people, that we don't talk enough about the mental health component. And that's really where I was hoping to sort of learn more about you guys, what makes you guys tick, where you come from. And I want to know how you guys created Fit Nation and like where the idea came from. Because I know you guys are high school friends that are now living your dream that you created when you were just kids, right?
Yeah.
So like where do you guys come from?
So we come from, Surrey. I mean, we're a product of Surrey. Jazz a little bit of Vancouver, which he'll claim a little bit more of Vancouver than he does.
Oh,
he's from Surrey. Yeah. We proudly rep Surrey, and part of the school system in Surrey is where we met. And for myself, I worked jobs that I never really wanted. I dropped out of university, so I never graduated, and it wasn't for me. I was one of those kids that didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So I got into the first job that I could at the bank, and learned quickly corporate culture isn't for me. just a whole.
Didn't you find that working at the bank, like, okay, like,
Yeah.
my parents
Oh.
will be proud of me now. I've got a job at the bank, you know, and I'm
My
in.
mom,
Like,
my
that's
mom,
it.
my
Yeah.
mom is she's 30 years at Van City, and she helped me get the job. So 18 years old, I got my name on a business card, and I think I'm the shit, right?
Oh, of course.
That shit goes
you got
out.
that in the pocket.
Goes out
Yeah.
quick, right? When you're like
Our
sitting.
grandmothers just wanted us to wear
Yeah.
shirts and ties to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Like they wanted us to go to an office.
Yeah.
Well,
That's all they said, right?
Speaking of clothing, to represent the nation.
We should have brought some more for the
To
hoodies,
represent
man.
the nation, I am
Yeah.
wearing my Fit Nation
It's the heart and soul.
flag.
So yeah, I'm at the bank, like into 7 years now, and I'm sitting in my cubicle. I'm an account manager at this point, and I'm working on someone's mortgage, and the walls started just caving in on me. I'm like, this is the rest of your life if you don't figure out what you want to do and where your heart is. This is what you're going to do the rest of your life. So I looked over at the lady next to me. She's a lifer. She's going out for her smoke break, and I'm seeing this rat race in front of me. And I'm like, dude, like, is this really what you want to do? And I think it was at that moment I started looking up, okay, making a list. What is it that you could possibly do? And all roads led to opening a business. And I forget where I heard this. It was like, if you're going to do something the rest of your life, it might as well be a passion of yours. And they said that, don't look at where all the money is. There's money in anything. Just do what you want to do, right? And which is kind of weird to hear at 21, 22. It's kind of like a cliche. It's like, okay, yeah, that's a cool story, bro. So I figured.
We were just talking about that. Is that at that age you have all these different thoughts? Jazz, you were saying that downstairs about. Sorry to jump in there.
No,
but you were saying downstairs, like, when we were 20, listening to older people talk to us about the things we're frankly talking about today. It's like, that's not gonna happen to me.
No, exactly.
It's I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And it's hard, and then you realize as you start to go through life, hey, these guys kind of make sense.
No, for sure. And that's a hindsight thing, right? Like when you're in the middle of it and you're hearing it, it's like, okay, yeah, cool. I still gotta go through my shit, right? But so yeah, there I am, and I've been working out since I was 12 years old. I was the kid that was told to stop working out because you're not going to grow by my mom, my grandma, you know what I mean? And, it sucks because my brother's like 6'2", 6'3", and I'm like just under 6 feet, so they still hold that against me. But I'm sitting there thinking, I love people, I love working out. When I become a personal trainer, started getting certified, went part-time at the bank, and had a really supportive manager who actually would call me in for meetings and help me work on my dream and not my performance at the bank and stuff. So I had a lot of good support. And then I was sitting there one day doing some activities, and I'm like, I came up with the name Fit Nation, and I'm like, after I came up with the name, it became real. I was like, okay, this is fucking amazing. Now I have something tangible. I can relate it back to. It's not just Ben doing fitness. It's Fit Nation. It's bigger than me. And at the time, a couple of my best friends that we collaborated together, we were all into fitness. We'd all do it together. And I was closest with Jazz, and we would always powwow together. And he was finishing up at university. And Jazz, what's your part from here?
Yeah, so it's a good segue.
That was great. You're gonna take over my hosting jobs.
I grew up in a fairly athletic house, I would say. My dad's been actively involved in soccer since 1986. He's like one of the heads of Vancouver United, and like I just never played soccer. Like I wasn't very good. My brother, he was the soccer player in the family. So there was that end of it where in the household it was like in the summers I think a lot of Indian families can relate to like going to Newton and going to the park, and then you're there all day long and whatever else. So like fitness and sport was like one of the main things in our house. Then after that, it's like, okay, you're not going to play soccer. Then my dad took us into track and field. So they took us to Pavitr Desange and Jaspir Desange, the Universal Track Club. So then that was 2002 or 1. And once again, I'm being dragged through this stuff. I'm a pudgy little kid. I don't want to run, right? And the thing was, a lot of the kids in that track club, it wasn't like, hey, I want to be a track star. I want to run track. It was, you're overweight. We're going to take you to this thing so they can make you run 6 times a week, right? And so we had a group of a bunch of kids, and a lot of them didn't want to be there. But eventually, like, I remember my dad saying to me, like, you hate me right now, but watch, when you get older, you're going to love the fact that I did this for you. And I was like, okay. And eventually I did have that. So I'm in track, and I wasn't very good. Like, I just kind of kept practicing, and then we stopped in grade 11, I think it was. And I decided, so my coach didn't want to train anymore, and we had left Universal at this point. We were in Richmond, and I'm like, okay, well, he doesn't want to train anymore, so I don't want to do this. So I stopped running track. I went into kind of weightlifting. So I was at the Steve Nash or the Fitness World in Wally in 2005, 4 or 5 or something like that. So back then it was a pretty well-known bodybuilding gym, right?
There was some
And
big
I
guys
looked
in there,
around and
yeah,
there's some
yeah.
pretty big guys, and I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So then I decided that day that I was just going to focus on that. So
Yeah.
it was the summer. I was in grade 11. I was a runner, 150 pounds.
Yeah.
I decided that I'm going to go into weightlifting.
Yeah.
So I come back in grade 12 September. I'm 175, 170
Nice.
pounds.
Wow.
So I put on 20
Yeah.
pounds. The teachers are like, what the hell is going on? This was our track star, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And this was like literally 1 year after I met this guy, because he was graduating 1 year before.
Okay.
And so like we were in the weight room around the same time and stuff, and then I kind of really started going into it.
Yeah.
And then I found out that there's this thing called kinesiology.
Okay.
So originally my parents were like, oh, Dr. Barna or optometrist.
It's amazing. Like there's engineer, doctor,
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
accountant. Like
Yeah.
that's it, like the four.
Literally,
like, that
everything
were
else
pushed
is
into
not
these
worth
kids,
it.
Yeah,
right?
if we could have tarot cards for Indian professions, like we'd have like 5 cards, and it would just be like, yeah, lawyer, doctor,
Oh, yeah.
whatever else. Then I
But it's
said,
funny though, Jess, because I even myself, like now thinking differently, I still look at my kids. I'm like, to lawyer Barna,
Yeah.
to Dr. Barna.
It's
And I can't
ingrained.
stop it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what it is. And then I have to
Yeah.
catch myself.
Yeah.
So, kinesiology, sorry.
yeah, so then I find out about kinesiology, and then
Yeah.
I end up going in. At first, my dad was upset because he
Okay.
didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
He just knew like he's not going to be a doctor. It's like, oh man. So then whatever switched over, and then for 4 years, I wouldn't say that. Oh yeah, that day I figured out. Okay, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. There was still a lot of confusion. It was like, okay, kinesiology, or do I want to get an MBA? Do I want to go back and do I want to just be corporate?
Yeah.
Do I want to go into athletic training and so forth? So career wise, I didn't really know, and then that led me. I was in year 3, I think, 2 or 3, and then this guy's like, yo, I got this idea, Fit Nation, and we were at John Oliver, the high school on Fraser Street there in 41st, and he was training his very first client for $20 or something,
That's right.
and he drove from
I
Surrey.
drove from Surrey to Vancouver.
So he probably spent like $10. Yeah, exactly. So he wasn't
Yeah.
really making any money.
Yeah.
And I remember he even ordered his shirt off of Vista Print, so just Fit Nation, just straight letters.
Yeah, yeah.
And we stand there like, yeah, this is a great idea, man. I think this is good. And so I kind of realized that after I got out, that's what I was going to do. And then once I got out, we continued doing that. And the first couple of years were really, really rough for me. It was kind of hard kind of being a mobile personal trainer, making enough. And so then that led me into driving my dad's taxi part-time on Friday nights for about a year. And then that led us to being able to sign our first ever lease agreement. And then we moved from being mobile into actually having a location.
And then from that first location, I've now seen your guys' second current
Yeah.
location.
Yeah, so then we got even bigger.
Humongous, right? So
Yeah.
it's been incredible to watch that journey, right?
Yeah.
What does Fit Nation mean to you guys? Like, what is it about?
Fit Nation is the synergy of your mind, body, and spirit working at its most optimal level. And that definition of optimal is different for everybody. So number one is defining that for yourself,
Okay.
right? And then finding the right plan that works for you. Not everyone needs to do the same kind of exercises. Not everybody needs to work out to look good, right? You can work out to feel good. And I think that is the new revolution that we want to start in fitness. It's not about, having a nice ass, tight waist, 6-pack abs. It's about what's going on up here.
Yeah.
Right. And finding the right outlet through working out. Working out is therapy, right? A lot of people are scared of the therapist. I was until I saw one. But what I always realized is when I felt like shit, working out is what got me out of it.
Okay.
And that's kind of the revolution we want to
Yeah.
start. And then on the rehab side, active rehab side, we're starting a revolution as well with back pain and stuff like that.
But you guys have the second tier, right? You've got obviously the training
Yes.
side, and then you've got the rehabilitation.
Then we got
and
the rehab
kinesiology side. That,
Yeah.
you guys work in both areas. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
that's what kind of makes our company, I would say, unique,
Yeah.
is that we're one of the only that I know of where you have a space where ICBC active rehab patients can come in, do their appointments, but they also have a gym that they can actually work out in.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're meeting with your kin at YMCA or at a gym, drop-in fee, they do the exercise with you and so forth. So we actually have a facility where it's like you can come in, you can do your sessions with me, and you can even work out here on top of it if you'd like.
Yeah.
So that's a little different. And just to speak back to what Ben said about the synergy between the three, sometimes you'll find someone where the body aspect, great, 8% body fat, I look great, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? The mind aspect's not all there.
Mm-hmm.
The spirit aspect is non-existent. So then it's like, on the surface, you look great.
Yeah.
But then once we open the hood, that's when you start to see that there's all these issues.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to change with Instagram and with the way that, advertising in fitness has always just been the same sort of way. we have to get your attention somehow, and it's just sad that that's just the way it is. We're looking to change that now, but a lot of the times it's always like you read the Cosmos at the grocery store on the cover, lose 6 inches or do this, blah, blah, blah. So it's very, very cosmetic. And then with that, with social media and with our younger demographics, we have people like putting an emphasis and importance on the wrong things. I want to look like Kim Kardashian, or I want to like one thing that Ben always says is you want to look like the girl in the picture, but the girl in the picture doesn't even look like the girl in the picture.
Yeah, it's like
because they've been photoshopped.
Let me pick up on what you just said that really triggers something in me. So the gym for me, so I've been living with, you know this, invisible disability since I was 9, 10, right? So the gym has been my only release. From a very young age, I say anything else I have in my life, as long as I have a pair of like dumbbells, and some music, I'm good. So when you just said right now, it's not about just looking good, it's about feeling good. For me, it's the mental aspect. Yeah. But because sex sells so much, you see people going in there and their mental state going in is good. But now the gym for a lot of people is having this ulterior effect where they're walking in and they're leaving beat up. Yeah. Because they're like, I can't look like those people. And what you just said right there is like, you're trying to reverse something that I don't even think a lot of gyms or people have identified as an issue. For sure. So hearing that was just like, holy shit.
It's an uphill battle for sure, because I mean, you can't take the perfect brain and make it look like a 6-pack and market it, right? It's a feeling and it's intuitive. You have to kind of feel it yourself. And like you said, a lot of people will start working out with the intention of looking like that model and then not be able to achieve it. And then you're exacerbating that mental health issue and it's getting worse, right?
Or that leads them to drug use in terms of steroids or some other like weight loss products that are very, very harsh on the body. And so a lot of the times what we're noticing now in the industry is people come to us with, hey, I have an engagement to get ready for, or I have this and whatever. So there's that cosmetic. Start working with them after about 3 weeks. They're like, you know what? I was here for this reason. I just realized that this is what I actually needed it for. It actually helped me de-stress at the end of the day. It actually helps my blood pressure. It actually helps my relationship at home. It actually helps this. And then it's like, oh, okay. Absolutely. So once again, when we're writing the marketing and stuff, I might hook you and get you in based off of that weight loss. But once you're there, we're going to change your worldview on certain things. And that's kind of what we seek to do. Because sometimes, like, there's been some certain marketing material that we've written out. It does really well as far as, like, ROI is concerned and that kind of stuff. But I've found moments of me sitting at the desk, I'm writing the stuff out and I'm sounding like a Cosmo. And I'm like, what am I doing? And then again, I'm getting frustrated. I'm going to him and I'm like, oh, I'm so frustrated. And he's just like, we're working together. What's the happy medium? How can we change this, right?
So it's, you know what I find, change comes from us, right? And how we sort of lead, we lead by example. And that's what I love about the three of you gentlemen that can lead by example. Like when I was starting with you guys and working out during the darkest days for me, significant, I saw changes in me when I was actually able to stay in the gym with you guys. I remember a story, and I have no problem sharing this with you guys now. I had not slept and came home from a bender, and I was trying to hide it from my wife. And she's like, well, let's go to the gym. I remember coming into the gym completely destroyed, okay? And being in a place where I was so dark for me internally, and something clicked for me that day as well. And it was man, I can't do this. Like, I see two positive males that are doing things the right way. And it kind of triggered me to, okay, I got to look at this from, because I was in good physical shape, but I was in horrible mental shape. So I love what you guys said, because the facade that I was trying to portray was like a guy that's got muscles, big guy, got fancy cars, all that other stuff. But in here, because it's also in the heart, right? For sure. Dead. And like the times that in my darkest moments that I was able to get some reprieve from my addictions was when I was working out, because it absolutely helped me de-stress. And I found that there was such a big benefit for me, because I could at least, it replaced for me what the addiction and the drugs and alcohol were doing for me, because it was making me feel better.
It's literally the only sort of natural way of producing the neurotransmitters and the dopamine that you would have gotten from the drugs and the alcohol. The only natural way to produce it without anything else is just take this guy to a forest and make him run, right? And after about 60 minutes, when he gets out of there, he's going to feel great. So like in a lot of rehabilitative programs, running and exercise and all that has been shown to be one of the best things that they can kind of do, right? Other than trying to give them vitamins or whatever else it is. But yeah, you're completely right.
Let me ask you both a question then. We're in Surrey right now, right? And I remember the first time when I was, Sun God was one of the gyms I used to go to a lot. Sun God was my place, and it was a 25-minute drive from Panorama sometimes. I don't know why the hell I went there. Other reasons probably. and a pool. I love swimming. But I remember when I was young, like 13, 14, a guy came in and he gave me a bottle of D-Ball or whatever. So thankfully not an addictive personality, thankfully somebody who realized really quickly that my body would reject anything. How do you, being in a position where you have people from all different walks of life, wealthy, poor, fit, unfit, mentally stable, not stable, and some might be going, there's a fork in the road, and your facility is that place where you almost choose their path in a sense. How does that feel, having the power, and how do you wield that when you see maybe a case come in or people come in and you're like, oh shit, like you're seeing maybe signs that you might have seen when you were younger?
Yeah.
It's extremely nerve-wracking, and it's a lot of pressure, I'm not going to lie. But there is simply nothing more rewarding in anything that we've created than that moment. We've had multiple cases like that. It's a full-time job at that point. You're not just dealing with them for the hour. You have them pretty much full-time. I remember one kid that literally lived with us because he got kicked out of all the schools.
That was incredible. I remember that.
Archie, you remember
Yeah,
him?
I do. Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
So it's a lot, but then the real scary part about that is because we've gone through a lot of that stuff too, like the D-ball story. I've used steroids in the past when I was a kid because I was young, naive. I didn't really have a father figure growing up, so I was always looking for who's that male role model in my life. And unfortunately, early on, there was some really shitty ones. So a lot of people don't know about steroids is that it really fucks you up mentally. Like, yeah, the body thing, like the testosterone levels and all that stuff, but what it does to you mentally is fucked. So I've had kids many times, they're like, okay, I want to try this. I really need to put some size on. I'm too skinny and I want to do this. And I give them my personal experience, and it kind of helps me relive my past, and it kind of reinforces my path through the past, where it's like, listen, you've done this kid needs to hear this. Matter of fact, show him, right? Tell him your experiences with your girlfriend at the time when you had them on, when you were on them, and then after, and all of that stuff. So it's a lot of pressure, but I wouldn't trade it for anything because it's the most rewarding thing. There's no number you can write on a check that can make me feel as good as I do when I'm helping a kid or helping even an older individual. We have older men now that we are helping through their addiction issues and stuff like that, and self-body image issues and stuff, and it's amazing.
It's amazing the body images, right?
Yeah.
Like I was a chubby kid. I remember, I'll never forget the amount that I got picked on by these little punk kids. Like now I wish I could see them and just be able to explain, like, it's part of growing up. I get that part, but it was just unbelievable how they body shame, or people in general body shame others. And it can create a lifelong effect, guys. Like I remember for a significant amount of times, I couldn't go on a trip and take my shirt off.
Yeah.
Like to that point where it was like, oh my God, why? I'm not enjoying myself. I remember this one story, gentlemen. I went to the water slides with my family. My sister's friends came along. One of them I thought was just gorgeous, right? And I was like, I just wanted to be like the impressive guy for her. But I was like out of shape. And I didn't want to take my shirt off. And I remember telling her, I was like, oh, I got a big scratch on my back. I have nothing, right? It was just complete lies because I felt like I created this sort of, this jail for myself in my head. Right. Based on what I didn't want anybody to see. Oh my God, this guy. I didn't want anybody to see me with my shirt off. And it started from like childhood, right? Yeah. And then you start to finally, thankfully, grow out of it, right? And it's very tough though, because there's a lot of that goes on. So when you help somebody through that, and I can tell you guys, working out with you guys, I feel so much better about myself, right? And just in general, and it's changed the way I look at it. Yeah. It's like, no, I don't need to worry about that.
I think what was happening back then, David Goggins talks about this. You had people were basically leasing out space in your brain, in your mind, right? And they owned you in that moment,
100%.
And when you were that kid and you were like, oh, I got scratched on my back, those people own that space. Yeah. Well, now they don't. Now you own that space. You own all that space, and no one leases that space anymore.
Freedom.
It's freedom, exactly. Yeah. It is. And when you were addicted, it was the drugs that were owning that space. Yeah. Now someone owns that space, right? And now no one can get in that space. And that's what I think is ultimately where people got to lead themselves to.
It's the evolution to get to this place of freedom, right? And I can't say for myself, at least now I'm 3 years sober, being able to go through all the things that I've been through personally, to get to a place where now I feel so much better about myself. It starts slowly, and it's not the same. Like I can't say it's 100% every single day, but it's a lot better than it was, and it's progress, right? So like I loved what you said about optimal, meaning something different.
Yeah, it's different for everyone.
For everyone, it's just like perfection, and we talked about this last time on the show, right? Is that everybody has a different perspective on perfection, so there is no such thing as a general or agreed upon idea of perfection or optimal or any of the other thoughts that we have. So it's just trying to progress through it and
Yeah.
slow down so that we're not trying to get to the Cosmo of body
Yeah.
within 3 months.
Yeah.
And then trying to create all these unrealistic expectations because I've just heard this recently and I loved it. They said unrealistic expectations are premeditated regrets.
Oh shit. Yeah.
You know, and it just, you get to this place where you're like,
Yeah.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because I think we all have to have some expectations,
For sure.
but we have unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys have people that come in to you that say like,
Don't get me
you shared
started.
something?
Don't get me started.
I want, like,
Yeah.
you know, there's that joke in Seinfeld. Like, everybody wants serenity, but you hear them in the show saying, serenity now.
Yeah.
Like, you want it now, right?
Yeah.
Like, how does that work for you guys?
I think I think almost every single person that comes in, but it becomes our job. And our job is like, yes, fitness coaches, but it's a lot bigger than that.
Oh, you guys are life coaches. That's
For
what I
sure.
qualify you
And
as.
our
Yeah.
the way we train our coaches and ourselves, and we're always constantly working with our coaches, a big aspect is on the mind, and then a big aspect is on the spirit. And then we do fitness and make sure all that stuff's good. But one of our biggest jobs with people is that getting them away from the destination mindset where I'm going to get that six pack and I'm going to be perfect. That's my life is great after that.
Yeah.
And our job is to get away from the destination and make them fall in love with the journey. You're not going to stop working out once you get to a 315 pound bench press.
Yeah.
You're not going to stop working out when you are ripped.
Yeah.
Right? So fall in love with the journey and keep moving that needle forward, but not to the point where, you know, you're a dog with a treat in front of it. You're actually falling in love with the process. And then you stop caring about how you look. And I think that's true freedom, is when you fall in love with that journey. I'm going to be working out for the rest of I'm probably going to die in a gym because that's what I love to do. Right?
Yeah.
But I no longer care about, yes, I have goals for myself that I want to hit on numbers on certain lifts and stuff like that, but that's for me. Right? I want to look a certain way and be a certain way because that's for me. I'm appeasing that kid as a child, right?
Yeah.
But that journey is what I'm in love with. Not this, you know, facade of a destination that I've created and that's going to be, once I achieve the top of the thing, I'm good, right? There's no such thing.
I think the journey is where the good habits come in.
Exactly.
And that's where you learn to make it a habit, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just trying to rush from point A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go through the rest of the letters, right?
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think with that, like, it reminded me of one of my sessions with my therapist. I'm like, I've had my battles with mental illness and stuff, depression, anxiety, all that. And originally, my brain, the way it used to work was, okay, we're doing mobile personal training, I'm driving a taxi, whatever. It's like, okay, well, once we get that spot and we're successful, and once we're making X amount of dollars, and I have this car, and I have this, and I'm not going to be depressed anymore. I'm going to, it's going to be the top of the mountain, right? So I'll make it to the mountaintop, like he's saying, and, I got all this stuff, I'm good.
Oh, yeah.
That's how my brain worked.
100%.
And then eventually we started going more and more, and then started earning more, and then doing this, doing that. And then I find myself like a show in The Sopranos. I'm sitting there in my therapist's office, and I'm like, well, I'm on the mountaintop, and there's nothing here.
Where's the satisfaction?
Where's the satisfaction? I'm
That's
looking
right.
around,
Yeah.
and there's nothing here.
Yeah.
And I feel just as miserable as I did when I was down there.
Yeah.
So what the hell's going on,
If
right?
not more.
Yeah, if not more.
Yeah.
Because
If
you're
not more.
chasing certain things that don't align with your inner values or whatever it is that you really want to live. And I started realizing it's not the mountaintop, it's the journey itself that is what you want to, kind of cherish
100%.
and learn from and so forth. Like, I don't think there's ever going to be that moment of, you're going to find yourself, okay, this is great now, sigh of relief. This is good.
Well, when you get to the top, the funny thing is, the proverbial top, you'll realize when the fog fades, there's many other peaks that exceed yours, far exceed yours, because every single individual has X, Y, and Z more, right? And there's never if I say I want to be the fittest individual, then I can just look at Arnold and okay, I'm
never gonna get there.
Yeah. But then I know for myself, like just the month I've been out, the thing is, we say it's a life thing. For me, I agree with you. I'll probably will die in one.
Mm-hmm.
When I come home, even till this day, and my mental state changes, my partner looks at me, she's like, you either never had a good workout, go to the gym, do something.
Yeah.
And it shows how much power is in what you are providing. But when you actually take in consideration of, you're not just two individuals trying to run a gym to be like, okay, profit. Because you've seen that, and you tried living it, and you saw that wasn't possible because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Then you start adding these other, I don't go to Fit Nation, but I'm like, now, it's inspiring because you want to go somewhere where there's a story. You want to go somewhere where I'm like, these individuals actually love what they do, and they're in it not just for themselves, but they value my journey.
That's amazing.
And when you say the journey, I'm like, shit, and I've been to 50 gyms.
Yeah.
And I always leave, and I'm like, why do I leave? I'm like, well, I'll say there's too many roid monkeys. I've said that 100 times to myself. On the island, there's one. I'm like, roid monkey. No, that's not the reason. No. There's something missing.
Mm-hmm. There's always something internal. I found.
As you're saying it, I'm like, there's something. I was like, maybe it's just sometimes you want to have that chat with somebody. Sometimes you might. You and I go to the gym. We, a couple times we've gone early in the morning. Just put our music on. We don't talk. It's just like serenity. You feel
that energy. There's like an energy about a room that's like so much more powerful. We always try and preserve that because we've been in that same situation. Been in the gym and it's like, you're young and you're around all these monsters walking around and you are insecure, right? And we try and promote that. There's a guy doing a 400-pound squat. There's a lady doing a 95-pound deadlift. And then there's a guy that's just learning how to move. And everyone is being treated exactly the same. And everyone has that personal connection with everyone in the same way. We don't treat anybody differently. And I think a lot of people pick up on that. 100%. And also we control the music. We control, the colors and what kind of quotes are up and all of that stuff. And then even the verbiage that's happening.
I love the music. Right? It's a great mix.
Well, you're DJ there.
Yeah. When she's around,
He's a DJ.
I love her playlist.
And I think that speaks to our purpose. Is like that's what our purpose is making everyone feel comfortable and realize their own journey, and making them fall in love with discipline. Like what was Kipchoge, the guy that broke the marathon record? He had this
he's like when you live a disciplined life, you are free. Yeah. It's like,
because you choose your disciplines. Yeah. I wake up, I run. I wake up, I do this, and I take care of my family. Like that discipline is the true freedom. When you're outside of that discipline, you're erratic. You're not free. You're a slave to other aspects of life that are controlling you, and you're not in control. Because when you're disciplined and you scheduled out your day to the hour, to the minute, you are free because you're in control. Otherwise, you're reactive.